Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Marshfield School Committee meeting on Tuesday, September 23rd. Ms. Pizarski, if you could please call the roll.
Dargan. Here. Stetson. Here. Jabria.
Here.
Mr. Costello.
Here. Mrs. Campbell.
I know, I'm gonna
Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And also, please join me in the Peace Builders Pledge. I am a peace builder. I pledge to praise people, to give up put-downs, to seek wise people, to notice and speak up about hurts I've caused, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. Under the open meeting law, informing the public that this meeting is being videotaped by Marshfield Community Media. If anybody else is taping this meeting, either audio or video, please notify us of such at this time. Seeing none. We have two spotlights on excellence today.
It's an excellent day.
How about that? It's an extra excellent meeting. And as you heard in the introduction, we have an additional school committee member with us today for just a little bit. Evie Campbell's going to be making all the decisions up here at the table, so everybody watch out because she's tough. She can judge this stuff, just don't let her judge American Idol. We're going to start with the unified track, and we'll recognize our two unified track folks to come on forward for our spotlight on excellence. Familiar faces. How are we doing?
Great, guys. Thanks for having us. My name is Elizabeth Gage, and I'm a math teacher at high school.
And I'm Eve O'Brien, also math teacher at the high school.
So thank you for giving us a moment to share the success of Unified Sports. Unified brings students with and without intellectual disabilities together as teammates, creating friendships, confidence, and true school spirit. This program is about more than sports, it's about belonging. We completed our first season of track and field in the spring. And currently we just started our basketball season, so we're 3 practices in. We have 2 more practices for our first game next Friday against Silver Lake. It's going to be we have 5 games total in our basketball season, and it will take us through October. And for all the updates on the schedule, you can follow us on Instagram. Just saying. Follow us on Instagram. It's at Marshfield. And this year for basketball, we have a wonderful season. We have a lot of students returning from track, so they're hooked. And we have a lot of new faces. Not even a problem, but we have a lot of people interested in joining, which is awesome. We even have like some of the football kids and kids from other sports come join us at our practices, which is awesome. One of the rules for MIA is you can't compete on another sports team and do Unified. So we have the conversation about ways for those kids to be included too, because they've been so helpful at practice. Like it's made it a lot. It's been a lot of fun. So we talked about maybe not just the sports teams, but having a Unified club, so that kids that play sports that want to be involved would have that opportunity. So it's great for everybody.
Kids that don't like sports to also do it.
Yeah.
Athletes.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we talked about, and we're just really thankful of everybody that's helped us out. The kids that have shown up, the other adults in the building. We wouldn't have been as successful in the spring and the fall if it wasn't for people just stepping up to help us out. So we're really, really thankful for that.
Awesome.
And come to our games.
Yes.
And follow us. Yeah.
You have to see their that coach's uniform.
Oh,
our practice.
I was gonna say that was my only disappointment of tonight.
That's
really weird.
I'm sorry, did you say track suits?
Yeah,
They
we
wear
got
tracksuits.
full matching tracksuits. We got shoes.
Outstanding.
Well, it was
Yeah.
an investment.
And before we got the
She said, "We need these shoes." And I was like, the shoes I need the tracksuit.
Yeah, we have both jackets.
So the outfits led
It's
to
like
the
the
job.
entire thing is right.
Yes.
That's
That's
the
what got us.
Yeah.
Dress for the job you want.
Right. There was a TED talk on that?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And now kids have been buying tracksuits, I think.
Yeah.
So you guys are also trendsetters.
Yes.
And pretty.
Well, we were before.
That's a good point. That's a great point. Can we get that on our shared calendar?
Yeah.
Because I would love to go.
Jody already said them.
If
Yeah,
they're
we
not,
have
okay.
3 home games, which is amazing,
Nice,
and then 2 away games.
cool.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, we reached out to, the dance team is gonna be at one of our home games. We talked with the, or reached out to the cheer coach, who were trying to get that in the works. The pep band, and it really will be, the students deciding to come on their own.
Yeah.
And they're excited about doing it.
Nice, that's awesome.
That's great.
Well, Vic, that's an awesome, awesome thing you guys are doing. We appreciate hearing from it, so that's a very worthy spotlight on excellence. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I do, yeah, I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not overly familiar, I mean, I'm familiar with the unified sports for MIA, but not necessarily Marshfield. So, how many years have we been in this?
Last spring.
Yeah, we started in the spring.
We're new
for
bees.
track.
Okay, so was
And
it a
now we
club
have
last year?
basketball. I'm sorry?
Was it a club last year?
No, it's a team.
Okay,
Yep, so we have like an actual sports team, because it's through the MIA as well, so it's Special Olympics and the MIA.
right,
And so we had track and field team in the spring, and then we do basketball now, and then there's no sport, or we don't have a sport that will be in the fall, in the winter. And then we'll do track and field.
And that's what we thought about, the talks about having some kind of club to kind of fill in that area between fall and spring.
Because to be a unified school is like a 3-tier system from Special Olympics. It's not only to have unified sports, you also have to have student leadership, like or not programs, but opportunities for students, and then also whole school engagement. So like there's a, is it March?
Yes.
So we'll have like a week leading up to, and like each day will be like a different thing, like wear silly socks today that recognize this and wear this, and just so it's just, bring the whole school in to be part of the inclusion.
Nice.
And that stuff, it all has to happen, and we fill up a form at the end of the Special Olympics, and that's what gets us to be by school.
That's
And
awesome.
it is the first season, even like we've had the practices, and each practice there's more kids that have reached out to be like, can I join? So it's growing more interest.
Yeah.
So I think it's only gonna be bigger.
How many kids do you have now?
On the roster, we have 31,
Wow.
which is a lot. Now,
For
in our
first year,
spreadsheet,
that's
that's the
awesome.
attendance. Yeah, but that's how many are registered right now.
Cool.
And that includes partners and that. That's the whole.
Great. That's awesome. Okay. Anybody else have a question? I saw Mrs. Dargan.
I'm so excited about it, and I think it's great. I stopped by the first meeting for track, and the excitement in the room, talking to the kids, and just was awesome. So thank you. This is above and beyond, and it's really great. I'll be there October 7th.
Am I going to? October 7th.
Okay, so don't coach or something like that. Yeah, I do have it in my work calendar.
This was such a needed thing in Marshfield,
Yes.
so it's a long time coming.
And we've learned a lot, like in the spring. I've never been coached. But
Yeah, neither of us had done track or field, so that was interesting.
I did one season of track and
Oh,
hurdles.
that's good.
I did.
Goes a long way.
Yeah.
So in this year, when you're studying a lot of
I
basketball,
have been studying.
I did love to play basketball, so that's helpful. But the students, the partners are really the ones that we have doing, like the demoing, and they're the ones not correcting, but helping the kids kind of learn form. And so we really want to put a lot of the ownership on the students to kind of run it and set up the activities we're going to do during practice. So we're voting our captains next week, and we'll get them to kind of help out.
Nice.
The captains are going to include captains and partners.
That's awesome.
We can get involved to make it more specialized.
Great.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we have some people volunteering to ref for the games. We're going to be the announcer, scoreboard, so if anyone's interested in these things.
A
if anyone's
celebrity
singing,
announcer, your superintendent
We're
of
gonna
schools.
have some sing the national anthem, hopefully, so.
Pat has a beautiful song.
Yeah. Do you fit in the ramp suit?
If not, we will buy it.
Yeah, I think we've signed up for the ramp, so that's good.
That is
Student
awesome.
council's gonna make posters for the kids and then come and cheer. Yeah. It's all about like old school.
And what they can learn through that is just really incredible. That's a really wonderful thing. So thank you for sharing. Thank you. A round of applause for
Also, everybody who supported them too. So.
Before we wrap up that one, I should add, I know our high school principal and our athletic director, if you have anything you want to add to that.
I was at practice yesterday for basketball. I'm really excited about adding basketball this year. But being at practice yesterday, it's exactly as they described. The students are jumping in, the students are helping out. They're rotating in. There's a lot of them, but they are rotating in and really teaching them the skills. And it really is, organized by them, but run by the students as well, which is really wonderful. And I've seen firsthand how it can really change the culture of the school, and it can really have a powerful impact. So I'm really looking forward to adding basketball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think just hearing Ms. O'Brien and Ms. Gage speak, like you see the enthusiasm and their dedication to it already. So they really took it last year. I kind of went down and said, "What do you think?" And we needed a liaison and we needed a coach, and they have really just melted into one position and just are two dynamic people in and out of the classroom. And so to have them, part of the athletic department now, we're very fortunate. And as Principal Sentner said, there's just an energy and a vibe, and that really comes from these two young ladies because it is contagious once you walk into either the track or into the basketball court yesterday, into the gym. So we're very fortunate. Dr. Sullivan's absolutely correct. It's been a long time coming. We have, we want to be a unified champion school, and we're well on our way. So I can't thank Ms. Gage and Ms. O'Brien enough. And the support of the school.
Coach.
Yes, coaches.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you all very much. We have 2 spotlights on excellence tonight. We'll recognize our crew from FBMS, our host school for the evening, to talk about our Wellness, Belonging, and Connection course.
Give them a
Yes. My friend and former bus partner, Miss O'Kane, from the Washington, D.C. field trip, like 6 years ago.
That was 7 maybe?
7,
Something,
yeah. Crazy 3 days.
Thank you so much for having us both here today. I'm Kate Woodard. I'm the 6th grade health teacher at FBMS.
And I'm Meredith O'Kane. I teach 3 courses of 6th grade health and the rest of them.
So lucky to have her because there's a lot of students and only one of me, so it's great that she is along for the ride. We do not have matching track suits. However, we do have matching bags with bees on them. So we do come as a lovely pair. So the Hive Journal, it's a guided journal guided by me and Meredith, and the students kind of lead the way, and it's based on the idea that a school community is like a beehive. So every bee has an important role. The success of the hive depends on everyone working together. And when students, staff, and families contribute with kindness, acceptance, and respect, the entire school will thrive. So the beehive is a great metaphor for our shared goal of building unity and belonging. So this came about because we have a new set of comprehensive health frameworks for the state of Massachusetts. The district goals and priorities, Dr. Sullivan's goal for belonging and the theme for the year of belonging and community, and then the student data from the YRBS, which Steph's going to talk about in a little bit. Mainly the question about having a trusted adult that they connected with in building. And for many years, 7th grade students have said that they don't feel as if they have a trusted adult. So a lot of the focus in the journal is around building relationships, not only with peers and classmates and friends, but also with every trusted adult in the building that they may come in contact with. So there's lots of themes. Obviously the bee, you would be surprised at how many bee puns you can create. So they use the Hive Journal as a guided resource to complete SEL-focused lessons and activities that are designed to build community, strengthen relationships with peers and classmates, trust adults at school, and also the Marshfield community. There's a big drive for me at least to change the perception in the community of young people. I think that the example I give to the students in classes, there's a general store near where I live, and there's a sign on the door that says nobody under the age of 16 can come in here without being accompanied by an adult. To me, that means they're not trustworthy, and I think that's really sad and a big generalization about wonderful people that shouldn't be treated as such. So if we can change the perception, that would be a wonderful thing. So through these experiences, students will develop key leadership skills, a strong foundation of connection, empathy, and belonging. journal is broken down into 3 sections. It starts with the Be Me section, where they reflect on their own strengths, challenges, and goals for growth. It helps them to build confidence through self-care, positive mindset, and self-talk. They learn to trust their own instincts and make healthy choices, and they strengthen inner self, just like the Be strengthen their mind. Once they complete the Be Me section, it goes into Belong. This is where they engage in activities that will strengthen friendships and build kindness. They practice leadership, gratitude, and positive mindset, and learn to value and appreciate differences in others. It's helping them to build meaningful relationships that help the Hive at SDMS thrive together. And then the last section, well, there's one more after this, but it's called Be Connected, and this is where they put the lessons from Be Me and Belong into action. So they're going to team up with their peers, teachers, trusted adults, and do activities to spread kindness, empathy, and gratitude through meaningful activities. So they'll lead with their strengths and help everyone feel like they belong. And so they'll be doing different activities within FBMS, but also outside the community to build connections with everybody here at FBMS, but also the Marshfield community at large. And then there's a bonus section at the end as a time capsule reflection. So students will complete activities capturing who they are now, so their favorite books, music, classes, hobbies. They'll do some personal reflection, gather notes from and messages from teachers and peers, and it creates a snapshot of this moment in time. And Meredith and I will put all the materials into individual envelopes and store them somewhere. I don't know where. Find somewhere to store them. And they'll get them back at 8th grade class night. And it'll give them the opportunity to look back and see how far they've come, laugh a little bit about what they liked 2 years ago, and highlight their growth throughout it. There's a student and there's the parent.
Can I just say this? Yes, please.
Yes, hold on. It's bad.
We created this course for all 6th graders that are coming in. So the kids, all the 5th graders that came together from their different elementaries have been coming to Furnace Brook, and we were trying to create a way that they would get to know each other and know the community. So Kate, in and of her own independence and work and energy and creativity, created this course. So every 6th grader at Furnace Brook, Patty was able to manipulate their schedule. Every 6th grader is taking it this first half of the year. They'll take health this second half of the year. That's why we have Meredith teaching part of this. So these 2 ladies have created this entire journal that is absolutely every student, every 6th grader is getting this, practicing all these activities together to build community, not just in their classroom, in the school, and within Marshfield as a whole. And the work that they have done on this alone, not paid, independent, on their own time, has been absolutely, I cannot speak more highly about 2 women that have just taken a course and run with it. And I can't wait to see the results after. So it's just, if you ever want to look through this, some of you have seen it. We actually have the kids keep them in the classroom so they don't go anywhere, we don't lose them, and then they'll get them afterwards. But it's absolutely amazing.
I'm so glad you said that, because it's such a nice opportunity to recognize going above and beyond, which is why Marshfield is such a special place for kids to learn. So I thank you for letting us know that they did that, and thank you both so very much for putting so much hard work into that.
I will say, it's all Kate, and you know, it's still more like Shark Tank than a beehive right now. I am really thrilled to support her, and honestly, everything is so specific to FBMS. Like, it's not just anything that's generic. It has stuff about Marshfield, it has stuff about our school, and it really is the best combination of community involvement, friendship, empathy. It's been amazing so far. So we really enjoyed it.
That's really awesome. Thank you.
Is it fun? She has to say that.
Actually, so the thing about Evie is she doesn't have to, and she wouldn't if she didn't.
She has said very good things about it.
Oh,
The first
good.
thing she did, she when I came home from school, and I was like, "How's school?" He said, "Health was good. Mrs. Woodard told us to do all. Grady did all of his homework during
Well, I was just gonna say, it's such an inspirational connection to what we're trying to do as a district.
Yes, absolutely.
Which, by the way, is right from the strategic plan.
It hits multiple pillars of the strategic plan. It hits
I
the
was in my
community
notes.
involvement.
It is just fantastic.
She said less is more, so.
Well, Caitlin is on the district wide, but the point is,
You don't want to overwhelm them.
this year it's really a focus to intentionally make belonging happen at the building.
Yep.
And this is a perfect example of how that's going to happen. It's happening in other places too. Not that we didn't do this type of stuff, but this is a very intentional application of it, which is really needed and appreciated. And I would say, since we're spotlighting Furnace Brook, we're resurrecting a web program again, which is where everyone belongs. So they'll tie in really well together. So it's very inspiring as a former principal here.
And I hope people hear this at home watching, because I'm sure we're having tons of people watching at home. And just in general, and I'll say this to you folks here and to the two back here, there are really great things happening in Furnace Brook. Absolutely, really awesome things. And this is a really nice thing to highlight. So I thank you for choosing this to highlight. We've got two examples here for our spotlights of people stepping up, going above and beyond their job description, and just demonstrating that they don't just come here to work, they come here to be a part of the community. And so you're bettering the community.
And that sets the plate for everything else we do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you both very much. Anybody else want to? Go ahead. I know what you're going to say. Go
I'll say something different.
ahead. Do it.
I'm just glad to be on the school committee, right, to facilitate your success. Right? I mean, kind of behind the scenes, we don't actually do your work, but it's great to be a part of this team. Right? And it's people like you that make me proud to be on the school committee.
I would just add, that it's nice to see, we get pictures of things, right? And it's always one of my favorite parts of the year is the health risk survey, right? So this is just like, okay, well, what do we do with that information? And this is what we did. And it's so directive and helpful, and especially at this age, I think, like building this stuff in as they mature in this crazy time called middle school youth development is amazing. And I'm so glad that you popped up and said that you created this, because when I opened the folder the other day, I was like, oh wow, we bought another social work curriculum. And so to hear that you created it is really impressive, and again, above and beyond stuff that is just awesome, and proud to be a part of this district. Thank you.
It really was intentional, and a lot of it, I am part of the district belonging community, so a lot of it came from the conversations that we had at those meetings, and then just kind of looking at gaps in the health curriculum. It gave us an opportunity to expand, and now we teach in this first semester, then we can build upon it in our curriculum in the second quarter. It's only helping.
And as they're growing up, so is the stuff.
And it can grow too, like you're saying. And I love the progression when they get to 8th grade, that reflection piece of looking back too. I think that will do that a lot.
Yeah,
It's in sport, you in middle school.
Yep.
It's realizing where you've come from and where you have to go. And I think that's a nice mechanism.
You should do it again at age 30.
You do it again a few ages in your life, but this is a happy one.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, thank you all very much. Anything to add, Mrs. Casey, Dr. Smith?
I just want to say I think we should change the theme this year to where everyone That's also a good one.
You were burning to say that.
I can feel a positive buzz.
Yeah. Ooh.
They said a lot of people.
I know, that one's tough. Thank you all very much. We appreciate you starting our meeting off in such a nice, positive fashion. That was really good. Cool. Awesome. All right. We're going to do the informational, and then I'll take public participation and Mr. Raymond. And then I'm going to move some things on the agenda around so we get Mrs. Babs up. So, Dr. Sullivan, your informational item.
Yes, I have a quick slideshow, because this is our first.
Thank you guys. Great job.
Even though it feels like we're up and running, and thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you.
And we are up and running, I should say, and it feels like we've been here for a while. And it's my first opportunity to talk about some of the themes for the year and some of the focus that we try to highlight at our convocation. So to start the year off, we had our annual convocation, which is where all the staff comes together and we celebrate the great work the teachers do, and we look at sort of the plans for the year. We started off this year with something special that I hope becomes a tradition. We had David Kaminsky and Laura Minarelli and Aaron Kapoor work with students over the summer and created a performance of Ain't No Mountain High Enough, which was unbelievable. It was astounding to me they could pull that together in very short notice. Just showed how talented we were, they are, I should say, and how talented our staff is in preparing them so quickly for what they do, and they're great musicians themselves. So that was a nice start, and then we can go forward. We also had a discussion about belonging with 7 of our amazing students. You can see their names there. It was basically a format I tried last year as well, where just had students on stage and asked them questions about what has worked to make you feel like you belong in the district throughout the years you've been here. And they just opened up and talked so eloquently about that, and we asked them what are some of the practices that we should be careful of and try to avoid. We talked about how we can make Marshfield a more inclusive place. What is, if you were giving advice to our staff, and it was really well received, and it was nice. It set a good tone for what you see happening here.
They were excellent, and they were heartfelt, and they were straightforward.
It really were. Yeah, it was
Which is important.
We had good feedback, and it's really all about students. And there's nothing more inspiring for teachers, come myself as a teacher, than hearing why we're all here. Just kind of reminding you of that as you start the year. And of course, we are talking about our strategic plan, which has our 4 major pillars, and each year we look at focus points that are articulated in the plan and kind of evaluate where we are. We did that over the summer. And just to remind everyone that the strategic plan really helps to create everything. It creates the goals of the school committee, the district leaders, building leaders. It helps drive our school improvement plans. All of our school improvement plans reference the pillars of the strategic plan now, and then it also plays a key role in administrator and teacher evaluation. Here are just some of our strategic initiatives for 25-26 according to the plan that we should be diving into, and I'm happy to say they fit very well with the plans that we should be seeing. Talking about, and this you'll hear some of this with the Use First Behavior Survey. Student behavior and choices made, making sure we create actionable plans to that data. Examine scheduling practices. I know we're doing that at all levels, and certainly doing it at the high school. Looking at maximizing our schedule. Principal Center has had for a couple of years a scheduling committee that is looking at that to decide if we do need to make any changes, and if we do, what those changes will be. And the students are also on that as well. Support and guide students in planning career pathways. Principal Center and I have talked over the last couple of years about, I can say that now, about increasing the already pretty robust internship program and making it even more valuable for our students. So we want to support that and have things in. And then you saw this today, creating a culture where all feel welcomed and protected in school and the community, increasing opportunities for families to become involved and engaged in activities. Data, we're doing a lot with our data protocols, data meetings at the elementary level. We're looking at Open Architects, which is a platform we purchased to create a data dashboard that we can come back to regularly, that can create a state of the data for us, that we can keep anchoring ourselves to, and of course working on our benchmark assessments. Really looking at our common resources and programs so students have access to equitable experiences. We have an athletic subcommittee meeting tomorrow night, that's one of the topics that we're talking about, is making sure that we're equitable in those opportunities. Our technology plan is rolling, so we move forward. And then it really creates sort of a target for us. But the two things that pop out that we're going to continue to make sure we use in everything, all those initiatives, is student voice and engagement. Having students providing voice. It was nice to be at the MEF meeting and to see them looking at creating an ambassador role out of the students who are the Project 351 ambassadors coming out of the middle school. So you can see it happening at all levels, where you're getting a lot more student voice in decision making, and that's great. And then of course you saw today the along with the lines. And then we did honor years of service, and I won't read these names, but something that we brought back as a tradition. And thank you, Joni, for helping with this, and Erica, if you're listening out there, for ordering all the apples. But it's nice. I felt very nice. I did my 20-year apple last year from Marshfield. But it was nice to be able to honor our staff. And this is not just our teachers. This is anyone who's worked in Marshfield, whether you're a roller coaster company, whether you're was that?
They're van drivers.
Oh, van drivers, or custodians, food service workers, anyone who works in Marshfield and is put in their service, because every role is very important in the district. You can see the 15-year winners. So when you hit 15, you get an apple. Last year we gave out a lot of apples because a lot of people were kind of in between. It was like 15 to 20, and 20 to 25, so we had a lot of apples. The next one's 20. You see the names there. 25, names get a little short list. 30, and 3 at 30, Jen Strauss, Linda Irons, and Chris Hubbard. And then we had two 50-plus year employees who actually retired this year, but we need to acknowledge them. Mr. Hengel and Mr. Ryan, I'm sure.
I have Larry as a football coach.
Yeah, I had Larry as Mr. Hengel as a geometry teacher, and then Mr. Ryan was my phys ed teacher, and I coached with the 2 really important people, and we were honored with the Golden Apple, which is the 50-plus year. So we're off to a great start. Because of the work of the staff, it's really an incredible staff, and just to see them. I feel like this year transitioned a lot more smoothly than last year for a lot of reasons. Remember, last year was like the highway of change. We had so much happening. Not only a new superintendent, but we had a new time situation where we're starting to traffic configurations. I mean, the changes. A new EL program, literacy program, we had a lot going on. But just this slide just thanks everybody that makes it all happen. That's it. Up to each year. Information.
Thank you very much. I just want to say how much I appreciate, and I think I'm sure I speak for everybody here, how much I appreciate that you're centering student voice and all of this stuff. That was really cool for me to see. I know you were at the opening day as well. It's really good to see that student voice is central, and that the staff have the opportunity to hear from the kids. I'm sure that was valuable to all of you to hear the experience of the students directly and start the year off with that. So that was really great. Thank you. And just echoing as well what you said about our staff and how lucky we are to have the staff that we have, and how successful this year is going to be because of them. So all good stuff. Dr. Martin.
I know what a long list tonight, I apologize. But back to the opening, I think, and as bad as this year, I think we're in our 5th year of Start with Hello.
Longer than that. Yeah.
Longer?
Yeah.
I just, maybe I blocked out the COVID at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that takes over the first 2 weeks of school, so people are name tags, kids and adults alike. They're encouraged to talk to someone new, they're encouraged to welcome somebody back to school, they practice gratitude, and then we have the high five spirit thing on that Friday. So the police and fire departments came, it was just a great 2 weeks to kick off. A couple of updates.
We have joined the Ed Tech cohort with the Department of Ed, so David Hawthorne, Amy Alba, and myself. And we're just trying to figure out our digital learning situation and what we're going to do with digital learning from here. And so we have joined the cohort. We're on our second coaching meeting. So we'll be doing that all year. And then the math coaches and I will be presenting at the Association of Teachers of Mathematics and New England Conference in October, focusing on teacher and student voice and adoption. But now comes the fun part. Desi, in addition to the competency determinations, they've added 2 more things for districts. And yep, Ms. Casey is shaking her head. Middle school CTE pathways. We have been tasked to have a policy in place by November 1st. We will be, like many other districts, asking for an extension on that. Because we have to put policy and practices in place that include how the middle school is collaborating with CTE and agricultural schools to inform students about the opportunities out there. How we're going to provide all middle school students an opportunity to tour those programs during school hours.
And Dr. CTE is college and career technical.
College and technical, yes.
Just so everybody out there.
And how we also have to talk about how the exploration and awareness of their options is connected to their career planning, starting early, already in 6th grade. So there has to be a curriculum in place, all of these other pieces. We did not attend a webinar until September.
They announced it on August
26th.
26th.
And it's so we will most likely be applying for an extension. I know Patty has already reached out to South Shore OTEC and Norfolk Ed. They also have work to do around their admissions policies. They have to update those. They have to have certain practices in place, the lottery system, all of that. So we'll be working on that. So we will bring that to the policy subcommittee once we have that. And we need to allow for 2 readings of the policy. So, and then the other thing that they have just rolled out, the MCAS results, there will be an MCAS parent portal, so that parents and caregivers can see MCAS results for the last 3 years, look at detailed reports of how their students did. But the parent portal guidelines are not available yet, so we can't send those out yet. They still have not released the official MCAS results, so supposedly those are coming out by the end of September. The portal opens October 1st. But they are also telling us we don't have to communicate about how to access the portal until you send out the MCAS results. So it's this really weird timeline that we are working with. Mike, Rich, and I sat on the webinar yesterday. We have to have a person at every building to field questions about this portal, even though we really know nothing about it. So we're just trying to work through that. But we'll be sending out information about how parents can access that as soon as we figure out. They want us to get out SACITs, which we've never done before, because it is kind of a secure. There's SACIT, their student ID number, in order to access the portal, which has drawn some concerns from our tech directors across Massachusetts. So we're just trying to how we're going to do that without risking any security.
In my opinion, that should be a hard no.
I did sign
Section
something
eight.
today with the tech directors to try and get them to set this off, but it's coming really fast.
So is Ruth a Rumble and culture and does it?
I mean, it is a nice way for parents to see. I'm not saying it's not. It actually is a very, when you look at how much information a parent can get about their students' performance on MCAS over time, it's very detailed, and it's a wonderful
is Desi is spending money out of our budget without reimbursing us.
Yes and no. We still have to, we would be sending home any information about the portal with our already released past reports, because we're also required this year and possibly next year to continue with the paper reports in addition to them having access to the portal. So we will still be sending out the paper copies to the parents at the same time. So that is a cost that we've taken on for many years now. The only other thing is just Mike's time of trying to figure out how to get this assets without complicating everything.
Yeah, I'd push back on that. I'm not comfortable with that.
We are trying.
You just say no.
Easier said than done,
Right.
but
Who wants to be the
we
first
did-
one to withdraw money from the district?
like I said, the tech directors sent the letter today. I put our name on it, before 3 o'clock today, and they're going to, that's their concern, so,
Thank you. Awesome, thank you very much.
I just want to let you know that we have a breaking boundaries but they are different, and they should. They were a big part of the convocation. They go and read literature to the elementary schools, and they were invited by the Inspire conference that they had attended to present at last weekend's MTA meeting in Worcester. So we are proudly represented there.
That's awesome.
So that's, I just wanted to shout out to Ms. Jennings, who leads that group, and all the students.
That is very cool.
Sorry.
Love
Congrats to them. I don't mind.
it. The SWAT.
So the year is off to a great start. We just have a couple of updates. So on September 15th, Desi approved our IDEA grant. The IDEA grant provides financial support to school districts to ensure students with disabilities receive a free appropriate education in a restricted environment. So Marshfield allocates our IDEA funding for things like collaborative tuitions, SY, contracted services, professional development for special education, related service providers, stipends for staff to complete extra services related to special education, supplies, subscriptions to benefit special education. So for the grant requirements, the IDEA funding is used to supplement and also plan local and state expenditures for special ed. So that's what we use it to fund all of the extras that are associated with providing services for students with disabilities. So that is this year. Related to professional development, on September 17th was a professional development day at the elementary level. All special education staff at the elementary level met at Martin Center. We reviewed a recent policy change from DESI related to timelines for issuing an IEP to parents following the team meeting. So previously, we just did a whole thing about this last year and then focused on the change. So previously, the district had 10 days to issue an IEP to parents as long as the parent left the meeting with the summary of the meeting and the service delivery grid. That policy was changed now. The new requirement is that the IEP must be issued within 45 days of the parent's consent to evaluate and within 5 school days in the new category. So this is tricky. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but 5-day turnaround time is really good. Considering that as soon as the meeting is over, all staff is returning to the classrooms, and then the IEP is new and longer, and so staff is, case managers across the district are working really hard to find strategies to adjust the practices to ensure that we will very confident that we will. Also on the 17th, related to service providers with health-related licenses, so OTs, PTs, speech and language pathologists, social workers, and nurses, participated in school-based therapy trainings from Marshfield Collaborative, and all other special educators work in job like groups to create customized professional development plans that they will work with Marshfield. These same topics happen or will be covered at the secondary level by the special education department heads on slightly different schedules just due to the differences in time. And finally, just a quick CPAC update. As you know, Marshfield had an amazing CPAC leadership team. I want to thank Jada Finley for her wonderful comments that she made in the ABA conversation. It was great. I will be meeting with the CPAC leadership in the coming weeks to have our plan for this year. So we don't have solid dates for meetings at this point, but people can anticipate a presentation on basic rights that will happen in the near future. And CPAC typically partners with the Federation of Children's Special Needs for their Zoom presentation. So as soon as that date is finalized, the presentation will be done.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Any subcommittee reports, please? Okay,
We
great.
have a meeting tomorrow.
Oh, excellent. Okay, the Marshfield subcommittee will be meeting tomorrow to discuss that.
Not Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
It's the same sub.
same subcommittee.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, it's in the front.
Excellent. Okay, great, thank
And
you.
they should say assistant superintendent Miller is the advisory.
Yes, yes, yeah, Mr. Miller is at the joint advisory board meeting, which I'm sure is riveting. And I would like to just very quickly add my own 2 cents on the opening convocation and just say thank you to Joni for using AI to come up with a generated image of a ram in a suit with a red beard that looked remarkably like me. So thank
They
you
should have
very
put that
much.
in there.
My girlfriend thought that was hilarious, so thank you.
Thank you for going.
Of course. Any members of the public who wish to address the committee may now step forward to do so. Seeing none, public comment period is ended. Mr. Raymond for the MEA update.
I'll be brief tonight. Thank you for your time, as always. Just a quick echo of what we saw earlier from our colleagues here at Marshfield and from Comprehensive Health at the middle school. Give us the space, time to do this stuff. We're intrinsically motivated and we have to smart. And this is what happens. We're very grateful to leaders like Principal Casey and Principal Setner that to give us the space to produce these things. We can produce high quality instructional materials that we are eager to do so. The only 2 items I had today was we're looking forward to working with the school committee as an association of safety and policy committees to pursue better self.
You have been invited by us. Yes.
We're looking forward to that.
Yep.
And the note today that I wanted to share, that I was hoping to share at the end of the school year, I think I couldn't get it done in the summer. And I wish I had a larger forum to do so. So hello, 3 people on TV. Is that the MEA gave $11,500 in scholarships to class of 2025 seniors. I think I have every reason to brag about it. Every penny of that was belonged to my colleagues. Were eager to give it to worthy students, but it deserves the recognition that this forum allows me the privilege of communicating. So I'm extremely grateful to my colleagues for their continued generosity in that regard. I look forward to getting my own above and beyond for Furnace Brook. It'll have to be at central office because I knew this was a longer meeting than I want to respect the people. So I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. That's outstanding news about the scholarships. That's great. Fantastic. All right, great. I'm going to move the meeting minutes to the end. And just to note that we're going to just move a couple other things around too. I am going to bring up Mrs. Battis first because I don't want you to have to sit here and listen to everything else that we have on the agenda. But I just will very quickly for everybody say I'm still working to finalize the superintendent evaluation. And just make sure that everybody's voice is reflected in that. So everybody knows there's just a little bit more information I need from all of you in order to complete that. And once that happens, I will bring it here to the committee for your approval. And we can then use that evaluation as a companion document to our district goals for the year, to our strategic plan. It's one of those documents that will all blend together with everything else that we do here in terms of our goals for the district. So I will have that to you for the next meeting once I get the individual evaluations, and I look forward to filing that document for all of you, and I look forward to not doing it next year because we're going to do a subcommittee for it. Wonderful. Okay. Mrs. Battis, how are we doing?
I'm great, thank you. Before I start, I want to tell you on every slide, pretty much every slide, I inserted a picture of either student work or pictures of our students participating in something so you can see it. So the first picture is a picture of our students from the high school going to Martin City, teaching them different yoga and mindfulness strategies. So we've been bringing our high school kids over to middle school. It's good. So what is the Youth Respiratory Behavior Survey? It's a national survey that we take the questions from the CBC, and there's only 2 questions that we have asked that actually are not on the national survey. It's parent present in alcohol, with alcohol, it's drinking, and the other question is, do you have an adult outside of the building? Just to shift to that word in the building. Actually, that's not a question. The question is stress. It's the last 2 questions we added. We added about what causes you stress in school and outside of school. On the left, you can see this is from our 6th graders that created posters about choice and healthy behaviors, really looking at advocacy, because that's one of the new state standards. The key focus areas for the Youth Risk Behavior Survey is safety as well as the protective factors, not only the factors, the things that the students are doing that aren't safe, but what we can do to maintain safety for our kids, mental health, alcohol use, drug use, stress, and sexual activity. The purpose for this is to look at interventions that our students might need, but also to drive curriculum changes. So last year when I was here, I told you we had that gap. It was the first time in over 20 years that we had a gap of 2 years because of COVID. So this is our 4th year in a row that we got our data. So we've been able to get some new trends. So what I'm doing for you is presenting some of those trends. So I'll start first with 7th grade. There were 4 big areas. First is mental health. Consistently, 28% of our kids are feeling sad. 20% consider themselves overweight. 37% of that 20% are trying to lose weight. So I just worded that wrong. But more kids are trying to lose weight than perceive themselves to be overweight. This is a trend you're going to see consistently with grades 7, 9, and 11. Vaping peaked in 2017, but now this is the lowest we've ever had. So our 7th graders aren't vaping. Bullying has decreased in both in the 7th grade, both cyberbullying and bullying, which is phenomenal. Because for a few years, we all know that has been an issue. This is a great thing for us. Safety, 12% were in physical fight, another decrease. And students that didn't go to school because they felt unsafe decreased again to 6%. So we have some really great trends going. And you can see to the left, in 7th grade, we have our kids doing advocacy around bullying and cyberbullying. So the alcohol and drug trends for 7th grade are good. 2023 is the furthest to the left, and then it goes over. Our concern right now is tried marijuana. So those numbers were extremely low before COVID, the number of kids that had ever tried. It is starting to increase. It's going up over 10%, now it's over 15%. So the vaping numbers are lower, but tried marijuana increased, which was not on our radar. I'll be really honest with you guys. So we're going to take a look at that over the next couple of years. Connection. This is what you just saw. So we knew for years at our schools that a greater percentage of our kids didn't feel like there was an adult in the room. So Pat actually challenged me when he was a principal here to add a question from the CBC that said, but do you have an adult outside? We know that's a protective factor. So 90% of our kids have an adult outside, but 65% only said they had an adult inside. That's where Kate, so as a group of health educators, we came together and said, what are we going to do about this? How do we do this? So one of the things that we said was, can we create this program in 6th grade to get our 5th graders, then in 6th, to find that connection, and hopefully we can carry that on to 7th grade. So it'll be interesting to see next year, not this, if those kids feel more connection. 9th grade trends. So to the left, you're going to see one of the issues with our 9th graders are their sleep habits. And we know that sleep plays into their mental health and well-being. So there was a decrease in the feelings of sadness. So I told you last year, we were really worried that 40% of our kids had said that they had considered, that they had feelings of sadness. That decreased to 25%. And there's a decrease in the amount that considered suicide. Decrease in the amount of people, though, that felt a connection, the ninth graders that felt a connection at the high school, it went from 69 to 63%. But this is another one. This is a community issue. Parents that were present at the party and knew that their kids were drinking increased from 23% to 29% for our ninth graders. Then we go to body image. 19% considered themselves overweight, but 42% are trying to lose weight. So this is something body image you're going to see at the end, where I tell you that's one of our trends. It's a body image issue, and it goes to the social media issues, everything that they're looking at, everything that they hear, what they see. So we've actually, in both 7th and 9th grade, are talking about self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-worth. That's something that we've now really shifted away from our depression and shifted more to self-confidence and self-esteem. And that's why this data is so important. Again, sexual health, the majority of kids, go right over it, Joan. The majority of kids have not had sex, and that was an issue years ago when we came in front of the school committee and I asked for you to add to our curriculum pregnancy prevention. We moved that from 9th grade to 11th grade because it's not something that our 9th grade is going to talk about. So we're not even there, not even talking about that. So our 9th graders are also doing a lot of advocacy around sleep, self-esteem, and self-confidence. One thing that we're looking at is the bullying. And you can see on the left, this is a card that we're hoping to propose to the Wellness Committee that we're asking for on the back of student IDs for something like this to be on it that says, we're here for you, we care. Here are our adjustment counselors, their extension, suicide crisis line, the text line, substance abuse number, gambling hotline, and the safe link if you have domestic violence issues. We want this on the back of their IDs so that our kids have access to it, and let's see if we can get them the help that they need without feeling that they have to reach out to somebody. And you can see on the right are some of the advocacy posters that we have our kids make and then we hang in the hallways so that hopefully we're getting other kids to look at them and see what's going on. 11th grade. When we compare alcohol and drug trends for 9th and 11th grade, what I want you to notice on this is the left side, the lighter numbers, are 9th grade. So our 9th graders are at lower risk for using, for even trying, and for binge drinking. But there's a huge jump from 9th grade to 11th grade. Our 11th grade has a term of help. What we're trying to do, is look at choices. How do you make the best choice? So now we're in 9th grade, talking to them really clearly about goal setting and why are your goals important, and things like this aren't going to help you reach your goal. So now we've shifted focus a little bit again in 9th grade. Yeah.
To do it at the end of the year? Is this at the end of the 11th
So
grade?
we do it at the same time every year. So we do, it's 7th grade full grade, and that's in May. So that's the only grade we're able to do full. 9th grade, we do the second half of the year. It's a semester course. They do it in grade 9, so it's only half the grade. And then grade 11, that's our challenge, Lauren, because we have, it's a term of 11th grade health. So we're doing one group at the end of term 3 and one group at the beginning of term 4. And this year we did it differently. We said, how do we get these kids all in the same way of taking the survey so that there's no confusion that you knew longer, so you answered differently. So we put them all in the presentation center, and that's where they took their survey. They spread out, it was totally anonymous, they understood that. But we're also looking at how do we get a full grade of 11, how do we get a full 9? And the way we could do that, maybe, is by doing it through phys ed as well as health, but now some of those kids are overlapping. So now we have some kids that are taking phys ed as well as health. It's not opposite each other. So if I could get a bigger percentage of kids to take it, I would love it, but it's always the same time of year. Always.
Okay.
I've never,
Which is in the
never
spring.
shifted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay? Okay.
Can I just ask you, like, what
Yeah.
percentage of the class are you getting?
Yeah.
About?
It totally depends. I would tell you, 11th grade is probably the least percentage, probably.
I'm not gonna hold you to it, just round.
No, it's okay. I would love to tell you it's 50%. The 9th grade, I could tell you it's pretty close.
So Rebecca, how long
And it
does
always has been.
how long does it take
To do the survey, it depends, Pat, in all honesty. Some of our kids take a little bit longer. I would tell you on average, 20 to 25 minutes. Some kids, 30 to 40 minutes, depending. And it's all Scantron, so it's that old school bubble. We don't do it on the computer because they think that we're gathering their names. This way, there's no names, there's no way for us to see it.
Flex block.
We may be able to do it flex block, but I would say this. We have such a controlled environment the way we do it. It's the 3 health teachers that do it here, and it's the 1 health teacher and 1 phys ed at Furnace Brook. We always say the same exact thing, and we always do it the exact same way. So when people come back to us and say, well, maybe they felt like you were going to get their information or this or that, I know what was exactly said. It's all scripted. So yes, I think that there's things that we can look at to get more kids to participate. No worries. So this is the 11th grade. 53% have been to a party where the parents are present and aware of underage drinking. This number is an increase for the first time in a while. 17% have been in a car with a driver that have been drinking. We haven't seen that in years, you guys. 94% of our kids have not been hurt. There's been no physical or sexual violence by a date. And I would tell you that we spend a lot of time in 9th grade talking about relationships and boundaries. And we actually have our 9th graders create a relationship contract where they're looking at what's acceptable to you and what's not. And how do you break up with somebody? How do you be assertive about what your boundaries are? The picture on this is actually a family genogram. In 11th grade, we have our kids look at what are the health factors within their family, what are the protective factors within their family, and how can they reduce their risk right now. So how do I maintain my exercise, my fitness level, my eating habits, my sleep habits to reduce my risk of illness or disease? So, so these are the trends that are concerning to me. Right now it's body image. 37% of the 7th graders are trying to lose weight. 42% of our 9th graders are trying to lose weight, and 41% of our 11th graders are trying to lose weight. This trend started, I'm going to tell you, after COVID. So after COVID, we started seeing a little bit more of this, and now it seems like it's been 3 years and it's still happening. So we're really, when we have our curriculum time this year, we already in 7th grade do the self-esteem and self-confidence. 9th grade, I really want to make sure we're more intentional about talking about that and really talking about this.
Do you separate these by gender? How do they identify?
This, we don't. So when I do the survey, we get clinical out, no. Yeah, so implications for health education, actually, as you can see on the top, we, again, we're advocating for World Mental Health Day. The early intervention in elementary school, Amy Madden is absolutely amazing. So in grades 2, 3, 4, and 5, we did a big focus and curriculum shift last year, and we're doing it again this year. And the focus is on the power of their own choice. So they're talking about the choices they make and the power they have to make that choice in creating that goal. We have targeting messages still against anti-vaping and alcohol prevention, teaching assertiveness skills and goal setting, and then still with the mental health, investigating resources that are out there and how do you advocate for your own self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-worth. So it's really shifting a little bit of what we have based on the trends that we're seeing in the past few years. Do you have any questions?
Does anybody got questions? Yes, Ms.
Yes.
I just have one question that popped into my mind. I think it was 2 slides back about 17% have been in a car with a driver that have been drinking.
Yeah.
Does that specify if it's like an underage, like peer drinker, or like a parent, adult, or?
No, it doesn't. I can tell you though, Kendra, after we get the survey, we go over the results with the kids. And one of the things that we talk about is who do you think people get in cars with? And it's with their peers or their parents.
Okay.
Because they're not parents.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, I was wondering, in the years past, you told us like what they've highlighted on that extra question, the number one stressor. I think last year it changed, but do you remember what it was?
It's actually been the same. The number one thing is time.
Oh, I thought last year it went to parent pressure.
Parent pressure is even.
Oh, okay,
equal,
okay.
But it's been time.
Yeah.
It's time that the kids have, so it's time at home and time at school.
Yeah, so I think when I was looking over this, in preparation for the meeting, a couple things were striking me. One was the school start time change, right, with sleep and how beneficial that is. One was the cell phone policy with cyberbullying and stuff that's happening during the day. And the flex block, right? My high school kids have always said to me, oh, it's so great, I can go to book time with Mr. Raymond to go with my essay, and I don't have to miss work or practice or, that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to be huge. I can't wait to see, what the results are there. So this kind of stuff is so encouraging, I think, that, it takes a while to get those changes to go and work at it, and it's an adjustment for everybody to get to it. But if we keep in mind that this is what we're looking for, right? That ultimately we need kids healthy so they can learn, so that teachers can do their job and can connect with them. I'm encouraged by that.
Yes.
And I hope to see it keep continuing. I've been learning a little bit more about how gym teachers are being trained now in school and graduate school, and I know that their curriculums for themselves in school are including much more wellness and health training and education. So I imagine that's going to kind of filter in.
So a lot of people are not using
You can offend me. Go ahead.
I'm not going to talk. They're physical education.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
They teach and teach.
Oh, sorry.
Just
Sorry.
the gym
Yes.
is where they teach.
I'm so sorry.
No,
Yes,
no
physical
worries,
education
no worries.
teachers.
I
Educators.
should have said this. So the physical education
Yes.
teachers are actually part of our department as well. So we meet constantly, and they're part of this data. So what are we doing? One of the things that our elementary phys ed teachers are looking at this year is adaptive PE. So how do we make changes so it's more inclusive for everyone, no matter what their ability or physical disability may be, or challenges they may have. We're also taking adventure learning, which is Project Adventure, you may have heard, which is a lot of the debrief about team building, cooperation, inclusion, and embedding that within their curriculum K to 12. So our 2 PE days in October, they are actually working K to 12 on adaptive PE, and then we're going to be looking at adventure learning at the end of the year.
Okay. Do you think there'll be a trend where more wellness learning happens during phys ed time?
I think it's already happening.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's things that you embed within our curriculum, and I think it's happening in both places. So yes.
Go
I love
ahead.
this.
You done?
Yeah. It's my favorite.
She's a social worker.
No, you're still up.
This is your favorite. She is.
I didn't mean that negatively, just in one term.
She's a certified expert.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Sounds wrong. I think license, you can go with
So
license.
going back to the card that you want to put on everybody's, right? So I noticed, substance use treatment recovery, right? So your survey, you covered alcohol, marijuana, you covered other things. Opiates,
Non-prescription drugs, taken away, non-prescription. All those numbers though, Rich, are low, but we want this so that 2 years after they graduate, if they have their ID, these numbers aren't changing. Or a friend needs it, or whatever. I just want them to have access that's easy.
Oh, no, I get that. I'm referencing the card because I didn't see data on a couple of the items that were listed on the card.
There's so much. If I gave you all the data, I would be here a long time.
Oh, I know.
No,
do
we
a phenomenal
enjoy
job.
you, but
No, so the other one was gambling.
Less is more.
yes.
Is that a problem?
So, there's a couple of towns in our area that have added gambling questions to their survey, but they're not on the national survey. So when we get questions about our YRDS, the first question I'm always asked is, where did you get these questions and why did you make these up? I don't make them up. However, 2 towns close to us added questions on gambling and have asked us to add a question on gambling so they can compare their data with ours. Are you asking me if I would like to add that question?
No, I didn't know if you had them in there, right? Because like I said, I looked at the card, and the data you presented tonight excluded both of the things I just asked.
So gambling is not, but I would tell you according to new research that gambling is an issue for kids.
But I've noticed that, right?
Yes, and it's getting younger. So there's an app that elementary kids can use that their parents put on their phones so they can pretend gamble and learn how.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that also, because Red Night Live is a good example, right?
Yes.
People come in and out of the casino and have fun in another casino every year.
Yeah.
But you can pick out the ones that have.
He runs the casino, just so
I
it's.
know.
Well, you gotta set them off right.
Yeah.
No, but you notice that they have that certain personality trait you can tell them about, even though that's, just for fun. So
We don't allow them to stay in the room.
Right, yeah. So we started this a couple of years ago. We kicked them out after a while. But in years past, the kids would just plant themselves there all night and gamble, and then just one more.
I can tell you guys, in all honesty, I'm extremely fortunate, and I'm not just saying this, but I'm thankful also for Dr. Martin. She has been beside me with the YRBS for years and knows it at times better than I do. So when questions are being asked, can we make this change, can we do this shift, she has always been there to help, to guide, to say yes, should we do more investigation on it, how do we do that? Last year we had a couple of different discussions about questions, and I think it's going to come up again, that through the wellness committee, what questions might want to be added. And in all honesty, if there's questions that you think might be helpful or whatever, talk to me about it.
Yeah, I usually don't have much value to add, but you do a phenomenal job.
Thanks.
So I've been listening to this for 11 years now. Yeah. So every year you do a great job. I appreciate what you do.
I have to be in full transparency. I'm surrounded by a department that is incredibly amazing, that they're consistently pushing and challenging each other to step outside the box and do something different. I just saw tonight.
It was nice to see that. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So obviously, as a school committee, we are tasked with evaluating the superintendent, managing the district-wide budget, monitoring the district-wide budget, monitoring and updating district-wide policy, and then setting the goals for the district, which is what we did in the strategic plan and what we can kind of realign and reevaluate every single year. So I think it's probably an appropriate question to ask you, based on the results you've seen in the survey, professional opinion, and I know obviously Dr. Martin is a strong voice in all of these conversations, but just while we've got you, are we hitting the mark when it comes to our strategic plan and the goals that we have in there that involve belonging, student wellness, all of these things, or are there things that we should be looking to realign based on the data that you're seeing?
No, I would tell you one of the best protective factors that we can do for our kids is belonging and inclusion. It's
Excellent.
building that connection and building that relationship.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
and none of it's just about that either. Pat's been saying it for years.
Yeah.
So it's nothing that,
Yep.
is new or different. We know that that's a huge protective factor. And if we can do that, we're setting our kids up for success.
Yep, I had a feeling you'd say that. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Do you have anything to add? Either of you, I know Dr. Martin, it's been said that you were so closely involved in this.
I just want to say thank you for that.
I'll just have one more thing.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Somebody started.
I think it's helpful, right, to create these environments where we don't just talk about it, but we're following it up with action. And caffeinated drinks are not good for people's mental health, especially younger kids. So when I'm doing drop off and I'm watching kids streaming into the middle school and high school with giant Starbucks and Fred, all that stuff, and then they're calling me for counseling based on anxiety, and we're looking at how they're managing things. Also, caffeine plus an 80-minute time block don't go really well. I feel really fidgety. So it's not just my own personal plea, but it would be great if
I can actually address that, Lauren.
Yeah.
So we actually included this year in the 9th grade curriculum the benefits of breakfast and the benefits of decreasing caffeine consumption and looking at how much caffeine is in different products and what it actually does to you.
Nice.
Yes.
But maybe somewhere down the road, it's, you don't come in with outside beverages, or you don't, like, or it has to be just water, I don't know. But it's just, to see the amount of kids, I was there at the high school handing out Letterman jackets, and it was almost like every other person this big. That's
So, Principal Sedgwick, if we ever ban coffee for students in
blame it
schools,
on me.
Lauren has volunteered
All
to
the
be
kids who know me will know it comes from
I
me.
will
They,
brush up.
yes, they'll know. Yes, the kids that walked in the door that know me saw me and they were like, "Oh, say that."
Some folks were good.
No, but
Wow, Celsius,
that's another,
Red
that's
Bull.
another well taken, I mean, the energy drinks, like,
Yeah.
we banned them at Grad Night Live.
Yeah.
We do not let kids come in with energy drinks.
Yeah.
But they used to give them out at Grad Night Live. We looked at it, like, what are we doing? This is so bad for kids. So that's a point well taken.
I just want to really highlight all the work that Mary Beth does. And I knew about the middle school program only because Mary Beth was so excited about it. And when we were talking about goal setting, she was talking about it and just like beaming. And so coming here tonight and then seeing the presentation, it was not planned, but I was excited to see that. And then Joyce Giavini, she actually went on a NEAS visit, and this was on the back of the students' IDs, and she and Mary Beth, when she got back, she was like, look at this is great, and they came right back, and she really helped support, this move in terms of trying to put these on the back of student IDs. So again, and I agree, it's a dynamic, really supportive department, and Mary Beth does a great job leading it in a really positive way, and even when on occasion there's a little pushback maybe about the survey or a question, just willing to talk it through and stay firm because it's in the best interest of the kids.
And educate people. That's the most important thing. Right? That's what I've learned from you in my 10 years hearing this presentation. So it's really important data to them. So thank you very much.
It's crucial to set up those trends over time.
Yes.
It's trends over time. We have to understand that that's their value.
And I appreciate that you recognize it as an education. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
Okay, so I do have to just take a quick motion to table the superintendent evaluation update. If there's any discussion, I would like to. Okay, so the table is moved by Mr. Beer, second by Ms. Stark, and all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, and it's 4-0-0 to table that. Ms. Berzerski, thank you very much. I'm just going to keep on trucking here. The MSBA article and special town meeting. This is a long motion that I will read, and then somebody can say so moved. Well, I wish I could do it that easily, but if there's anything you'd like to add, Dr. Sullivan, I welcome you to do so.
No, I think this is just to get it approved for what we're going to at the town meeting.
Okay.
So we would have to vote on that?
We do have to vote on this.
We do by MSBA policy.
Oh, by the, yes.
Yep, so it's MSBA policy, and it's also a legal thing that I have to read this word for word. So does anybody have any questions or discussion?
My only comment was that I said for so many years, they'll get a new roof at Martinsville.
And now she's in middle school, and we're going to get a new roof. You were correct. Well, that speaks to you as a school committee member, not like trying to prioritize your kids.
Right.
Do you want to read? Okay, well then you can make the motion when I'm done reading it. Okay. Ms. Pazerski, you got your pen handy? Move that the town of Marshfield appropriate the amount of $7,851,680 for the purpose of paying the costs of the roof replacement at the Martinson Elementary School, 257 Forest Street, Marshfield, Mass. 02050, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, the project, which proposed repair project would materially extend the useful life of the school and preserve an asset that otherwise is capable of supporting the required educational program, and for which the town of Marshfield has applied for a grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, said amount to be expended under the direction of the town of Marshfield Select Board, and further to meet this appropriation, the town treasurer collector, with the approval of the Marshfield Select Board, be authorized to borrow said amount under MGL Chapter 44 or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and further that the town acknowledge that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and if the MSBA's board of directors votes to invite the town to collaborate with the MSBA in this proposed repair project, any project cost the town incurs in excess of any grant that may be approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the town, provided that any appropriation hereunder shall be subject to and contingent upon an affirmative vote of the town to exempt the amounts required for the payment of interest and principal on said borrowing from the limitations on taxes imposed by Mass General Laws 59, Section 21C for Proposition 2.5, and that if invited to collaborate with the MSBA on the proposed repair project, the amount of borrowing authorized pursuant to this vote shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the project funding agreement that may be executed between the town of Marshfield and the MSBA.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mrs. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, it's 4-0-0 as well.
Yeah, good job as an auctioneer.
I know,
Yeah, I
that's
was
not
just gonna
bad,
say
right?
that.
Wasn't bad.
Thank you very
I
much.
was just about to bid.
Yes. How much, Mr. Greer? Mr. Greer is offering to pay
Yeah,
for
we're gonna have that signs.
Right.
Yeah. Quick comment on this, right?
Go ahead.
I think we need to manage our vendors a little better,
Okay.
right? So we already have it set up, with the liaison and all of that.
Yes.
I think the aim is to, actually drive the project with the school committee liaison,
Okay, I'm gonna,
department meetings.
you're our liaison, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna put that on our subcommittee.
and then we need to, we should be reviewing punch list items prior to payments.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. This is gonna be a quick, item 2. We're gonna do the school committee subcommittees and liaisons, and then the substitute rates on that. This is not gonna be 10 minutes. I just wanna bring something up to folks that I'm going to finalize the subcommittees and liaisons after I ask for your consent to make a couple changes. This is something that I don't think I can do unilaterally, nor would I want to do unilaterally. But Dr. Sullivan and I were talking about best practices and ways that we could better utilize our subcommittees. And I think something that we do well is share the workload, and I think there's a couple people who might be on 1 or 2 more subcommittees than Kendra, but I think that the workload by and large is shared well enough that not one single person is overwhelmed. But I also think that we can be implementing better practices and operating protocols with, in terms of who calls a subcommittee meeting, why a subcommittee meeting is called. So typically a subcommittee meeting is convened at the direction of the full committee to undertake something. So if something is discussed at a school committee meeting and it's determined by consensus of the committee that that should be discussed by a subcommittee, the perfect example being ongoing conversation on the proposed athletic fees, and that being discussed by a subcommittee because the school committee wanted more information before making any decisions on that. So that's typically how a subcommittee meeting gets called. Who is in charge of coming up with the agenda and formulating the meeting date and location for that subcommittee and ensuring that it's properly posted is a little bit ambiguous with the way we've done things in the past. It used to fall on administration, but that's really not something that should fall on administration because it's a subcommittee of the school committee. Administration can and should go to those subcommittee meetings and be active participants at the discretion of the subcommittee. But at the end of the day, the vote to move something forward for consideration of the committee is only done by the subcommittee. Obviously, a subcommittee can't approve anything themselves. They can only vote to move something forward to the committee. So in keeping with all of that and recognizing that we need to be better about how we do that, I'm thinking what I'd like to do is take the practice of still keeping 2 people per subcommittee, right, because we can't have more than 2, but having one person serve as the chair of that subcommittee, and assigning probably every single member of the committee at least one subcommittee chairmanship, and trying, again, to keep things equal. But in order to do that, I would just ask for your consent, your thoughts, and what you think on that kind of new practice that we can better implement for our subcommittees.
You just mentioned it's a collaborative effort, of course.
Yep.
And, just as you and I collaborate on the agenda.
Yep.
And there may be cases, like for instance, there may be a case law out there that necessitates we change or we adapt a policy. And knowing that information, the administration may speak to
Right.
the school committee in this forum to say, hey, we have to look at something.
So that's a perfect example with what Dr. Martin brought to us today about the CTE policy, which we definitely will need to convene the policy subcommittee once they are able to get their heads around that. Obviously, really off the timing at the beginning of the year and with the deadline. And MASC is not putting out any proposed language on that because it would just vary too much district by district. So it's a very convoluted, complicated issue. And when something like that happens, this is exactly how it should happen, is Dr. Martin should come to the committee and say, look, here's my update. We will need to convene the policy subcommittee to discuss this. And then whoever is the chair of the policy subcommittee, which might end up being me, because it's myself and Ms. Brayton, I have a different subcommittee that she's going to be in charge of. That would be me to schedule a policy subcommittee meeting based on Dr. Martin's report and then the consent of the committee, not an official vote, but if anybody has objections, then we should hear them, and it's just a kind of the consensus of yes, the expectation is that the subcommittee need to do that work. And then if you look on the agenda, there's an area for subcommittee reports that we dramatically underutilize. And I think Mr. Greer proved today how it can be utilized, right? Where you have a subcommittee meeting coming up, and he can report to everybody that this subcommittee is meeting at this time. Or if the subcommittee is meeting and has already held a meeting on a policy or on a specific section of the budget or anything like that, but it's an ongoing process, that's when we can say, well, look, we met for the first time to review the CTE policy recommendations. We're socializing that with the staff. We're coming up with ways that we can tweak that to make sure that we're reflecting this and this, just so the committee's aware of the ongoing work of the subcommittee. But that would be the duty of the subcommittee chair to make that report. I also want to make sure folks know subcommittees of the school committee are held to the same posting requirements and requirements of meeting minutes that the school committee is held to.
And the scheduling, Sean, will go through Joe, who just has.
Yeah. Exactly.
School committee.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Also,
So
keeping of minutes.
the keeping of minutes would be determined by the subcommittee as to who would keep those minutes.
And for the subcommittees, from an administrative point of view, I typically have certain people involved with certain committees.
Yep, right. Yep. And that's at
We
the
can
discretion of the
discuss that amongst
superintendent.
ourselves,
But the subcommittee can also say to the superintendent, I feel like this staff should be. Like if we're discussing CTE policy, I probably want Principal Casey to be in the subcommittee meeting. I know Dr. Martin would do that already, but just in case I would say to Dr. Sullivan, I'd like Principal Casey at that meeting. She should be there.
and we'll need both the negotiations and the budget subcommittee meeting fairly quickly as we have our negotiations.
I haven't received any letters on that.
We received the letters.
Just got.
Yep, we just got it.
Just got it.
Yep.
I knew it was coming.
Well,
Just got it.
within
Yep.
some days. But that will be, we need to take that off too. We'll collaborate on it.
Yes, and the negotiating committee is yourself and Mrs. So I guess what I'm asking for is your thoughts on this, and then I'll ask for a motion, but does anybody have any?
I have my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, best practice with any subcommittee is to have somebody facilitate that.
Yes.
Whether you call it a chair or another facilitator, we need somebody in that role to drive it.
I agree.
Somebody on the school.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I think there's often times that we're asked to vote on something that feels like we could use some more information, or and especially like for example budget. I think there's a lot more information to be gathered throughout the year, reported, so that when we get to the time where we're approving the budget, it's not a quick 4-slide thing.
Right.
So I'm excited about this. I think it gives clarity. I think it should be part of the training.
It is.
Yeah, what's it called?
Yeah, we have a good trainer here.
Yeah. No, I'm excited.
That's right. If we're going with that model, things have to come through the chair of that subcommittee. You can't go around the chair of that subcommittee.
Well, yeah, so the chair of the subcommittee would be the one who sets the agenda for the subcommittee, but at the same time, the chair is the servant of whatever assembly it is, not the master of that assembly. So if we have a committee, so say, just for sake of argument, I know this isn't going to happen, but say it's yourself and Ms. Starden on the athletic fees subcommittee. And there's something that Mrs. Darby wants to discuss as a subcommittee, and you as the chair disagree and you don't want to do that. Mrs. Dargan has every right at the end of the meeting to make a motion to place that on the agenda of the next school committee meeting for the school committee to discuss. If that's seconded and voted in the affirmative, then that school committee meeting could direct you as the chair of that subcommittee to place it on.
That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to we have a meeting and then nothing can happen outside of that meeting. without, just say, the two of us, like, we should be able to.
Oh, yeah, I
Decisions
get
shouldn't
it,
be
I
made
get it.
behind the scenes or anything else.
Well, those reports are made to the committee from the staff, and yes, but the committee is what directs you to hold those meetings.
And Sean, the subcommittee brings information to the committee
Correct.
for voting.
Right.
But just say like, you two and I were all on the same subcommittee, and we're the school committee members,
This,
or whatever.
Yeah.
It could be public or whatever, right? Or you two can't be there doing stuff behind the scenes to let us know about it. You know, and that information being presented to the school.
Yeah, and you know what, on the same note too, information or a proposal should never be generated by a subcommittee first. It's directed by the committee as a whole to the subcommittee, at which point the subcommittee takes a recommendation, but they have to take direction from it.
yeah, that's a great model where the school committee has a discussion about something, brings it to the subcommittee develops an opinion from those committee members who are, school committee members who are on that subcommittee, brings it back.
Yep.
For socializing.
Yep.
And then, if needed, the next time for a vote.
Correct.
It's a good model.
When you say the subcommittee votes to bring it forward to the committee,
Yep.
it's the two, it's the two.
Correct, it's
subcommittee
only the
members?
two.
Only the two.
No administrators take a vote. If it's a tie, then it doesn't advance on itself.
I guess what I'm saying is like, if we show up at a school committee,
Bring
bring
it
it
to
to
the
the subcommittee, so we're not conversation.
Right. Yep, I totally agree with you. And just to kind of go further on that question,
Yeah.
if it's a tie
Yeah.
in the subcommittee, obviously that's not a majority,
Yeah.
it's 1-1. So it won't move forward out of the subcommittee, but that doesn't mean that that subcommittee member who voted in favor can't bring it up at the meeting, at the end of the meeting. You all have the right to say at the end of the meeting, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to place this on our agenda for the next meeting. I can't ignore your motion. If it's seconded, I have to take it. If it's not seconded, then we can't vote on it. But if it's seconded, then we have discussion and then a vote. And if I don't want to put it on there, but you all vote to put it on there, or if it's 3-2 or whatever, I have no choice. It's on there. Not that I would ever, right, not that I would ever not place something, but still, the chair is the servant of the assembly and not the master. I think you all know by now that that's not how I operate anyway, but.
Yeah.
And this is, just to clarify, John, this is just the subcommittees, this is not the committees that we are liaisons.
That's correct, yeah, it's only the subcommittees of the school committee. The liaisons will likely remain the same.
And the those meetings are.
Right.
And if we're the liaison, I assume we would get the invitation on the calendar if these committees are meeting.
With which committees?
If the ones that we're the liaisons to. So for example, I'm a liaison to the social emotional committee.
That's the belonging committee.
So we should probably change that.
Okay.
Well, we have two, we have wellness and belonging working together, but that's handling that's our social emotional.
Okay.
Do you have capital projects to this?
Yes, I'll put them on as the liaison.
So you were on that committee.
Yes, I was.
So
Yes.
that's what we're, because we're looking at social emotional platforms through the belonging.
The only other thing that I want to add to this discussion is that everybody here is a liaison to a school council. This is something that I've seen come up in other districts, where some districts don't have school committee members on the school councils, some do. I happen to believe it's a good practice. I was actually just in Hingham training their school council members on how to effectively implement a school council model. I think, and I strongly feel this way, and I don't know how other people feel. I feel that our positions on school councils as liaisons means that we don't vote on school council issues. Because I don't want there to be a precedent of a school committee trying to set the agenda of a school council. And I don't think anybody here would do that, but we have to think about who comes in first.
So remember though, just to make sure, the school councils have to by statute be equal parts, community.
Yep.
And teachers / leaders.
Yes.
That's the equal number.
We don't count as teachers.
Correct, so if that's outside that number, then you wouldn't vote.
Right.
If you're a part of that number, as community members, which are community.
I think there should be uniformity, and my thought on that is that we should not be voting on school council members. Because we're voting to approve something that's coming before the committee anyway.
So why would that?
I like
as
to-
liaisons to report back on what's going on in the school councils. So that will be subcommittee reports.
You can provide counsel in there through thoughts, you just don't vote.
Right, well, the school committee votes to set the goals of the district. Um, And the school councils take their direction from that. There's just a whole lot of muddy waters when it comes to school committee members having an active role in a school council in terms of voting.
Yeah, it's interesting, and this goes back to when Mario was chair. And at the time, there was actually an issue with some school councils. They weren't effective.
Right.
So the school committee liaisons, their role is to kind of,
Which makes sense, that's to fit the need at that time to
Yeah.
kind of get things back on track. I don't feel that we need that right now,
well, and that's fine, but that's where this all.
but I also don't feel like if we did need it in the future, that we need to be voting members in order to make it happen. I think we can serve as liaisons to ensure that school councils understand that they have a school committee member in the room for support who can report back to the full school committee on what's happening at the Furnace-Brook School Council.
I think sometimes too in those meetings that the teachers and sometimes the parents, at least I know at Marks and at Furnace-Brook, like will sometimes want insight into like what's happening
Yes.
at the school committee level or
Yes.
whatnot. I think it's also helpful in that regard as well.
That's good, if you get a pulse, you really get a pulse for what's happening.
Right. Yep. So,
The ones I've been in, it's always unanimous votes.
But it would be, so if you have 5 teachers, and you can only have 1 administrator. So if you have 4 teachers and 1 administrator, that's 5 votes. And you need 5 community member votes.
and that's required by law, so school councils are required by law.
So if you're the 6th community member,
So I think it should, if you don't mind, Dr. Sullivan and Ms. Mazursky, communicating to our principals that the consensus of the school committee, if I'm reading the room correctly, is, and we don't need to vote on this, is that school committee members are liaisons, meaning they're non-voting members
yes.
of the school council.
That's good. The key with there is that the principal's are going to have to even out their councils.
Right.
Because they need the same amount of votes for the community members / caretakers.
Yep.
As they have for teachers and administrators.
Right. Keep in mind that policy also, we have certain requirements that make that policy conditions.
Well, so, yeah, we should probably review that.
Oh, what is the same policy?
It has representation for certain school councils.
Yeah, well, you are still representing, just not voting.
Does our policy go beyond just the even split?
Our
Because if so, I
our
don't know if that
policy
would stand out.
includes work representation for certain protected categories.
Interesting.
And whether that's on
Oh,
the
you
teacher
I know what you
side
mean. I know
or
what you mean.
community side,
Yep, I know what you
it's irrelevant, but we have to make sure that
Yep.
we accommodate.
I know what you mean now, yep, I think that's a good point. Yep, we should make sure that it does fit into those numbers, it's just making sure that there's diversity. And,
Right.
there's also at the high school, by the way, it's required that a student has.
The student vote?
Student does vote.
So that's part of
Yeah, the students are on school council.
Are there 5 students on the Marshfield High School School Council?
Yeah, but they're all the ones that kind of hang out with you. Or at least last year.
Advisory council. That's interesting.
I hope that's what
I'll
you
look at
mean.
that. But there does have to be
Well, anyone can go, it's a public meeting.
public meeting.
It's just who's
Who's voting?
So,
we also make sure that the people that are in charge of the committees that we're the liaisons for, so Lauren's point, know to invite us to meetings.
Yes.
So that we know what they're at.
Can we, I want to
I
make sure.
think that might be a good thing for you and I to sit down in the next week or 2 and make sure we're totally aligned on all of those.
Well, I want to make sure I'm getting the right people, like, so for instance, the safety committee, Kendra came to the last one, and as did Mara, and then, I know that Lauren was coming to the lawn committee for a while, Laura too. But I want to make sure I have all of the subcommittee liaisons to make sure, not subcommittee, liaisons, to make sure that we have a community items.
I'm gonna have this list done by the next meeting, but in order to do that effectively, I needed your approval to move forward with a new structure of our subcommittee. So could I ask for a motion to approve this structure? So, Ms. Stetson, is there a second? Second from Starr, and all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstaining? Yeah, I agree, thank you very much.
As you redid this, I liked last year, so this is my third year. Between year 1 and 2, I swapped a school for the school liaison thing. And I liked being able to spend time with a different school, and
Okay.
so if it's possible, if we can, keep kind of moving around.
Mix up the school council liaisons?
Yeah. I know sometimes it's nice to have them
No, but
meeting, but maybe
I
one
think that's,
moves around.
especially where we're non-voting liaisons, I think that's a nice idea, so you can kind of get more of a taste of what's going on in some other schools.
Yeah.
Which I think that that's the only one.
I understand. Right, yeah. Okay, last item on our agenda tonight is substitute rates. I think this is probably a rather quick item. Dr. Sullivan.
Yes, and you see in your folder a list of all of the substitute rates which have not changed, with the exception of one we'd like to bring to your attention. And that is for our sub-bus attendant / monitor, which we'd like to $20, which is up to $25. It's in concert with our ESP contract that we hope will be ratified and to you.
So
We just don't wait on this.
I just have some comments on this. I bring them up all the time, right? So how are we doing with recruiting and retention?
Of which positions? All sub-positions?
Just any problem ones.
It's not being brought to my, and I'll turn to Ellen and Amy if they see differently than Patty. It's not been brought to my attention that we're in dire lack of finding subs, but it's tight all over to find substitutes. So it's important that our rates are competitive, because if they're not, we will start.
Well, we have full-time positions we can't fill.
Full-time positions in what?
In any of these that we can't fill.
It's sub.
Yeah,
No.
so like, ideally, if you had a sub,
We haven't had trouble filling these per se as much as our, we at times have trouble filling SCSP positions. That's been a struggle across the district. I don't know what we can look at our rates compared to other rates. I think having just gone through negotiations, I think we're going to be presenting a very competitive, very competitive sort of formula for them.
Yep.
But that's the position that we've struggled to fill more than anything. And that's not audio.
sub aids.
No, the SESP. So we.
SESP.
So those,
ESP.
like, ESP, SESP, that position,
Yeah.
when we post it, and we sometimes need to, because of the change in population, someone moves in, something, from year to year, we sometimes need to not only move people around, but we need to suddenly need to advertise for additional positions. And I don't know, Amy, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think we've struggled a little bit sometimes to fill those.
Yeah.
Not so much the substitute positions. We do have substitute applicants, and we are able to fill those. I haven't really analyzed how deep our issue is, but I haven't heard it as a chorus from the principals.
Yeah, and so I can't speak to the rest of these. I know I'm a little more familiar with custodians. So just say you have a custodian son working at fixed rate, and their goal is to get a foot in the door because when there's an opening, they're really not in a full-time position. But you can't retain them because of what they're making. Right? So they go someplace else. But I don't. Are we having that problem with any of these other ones?
I'd have to look. I don't know. I don't have enough information to know who came in as a substitute looking to get a full-time position, and if they left because of this. All I know is that we're able to hire substitute custodians. Full-time custodians, whether it be a junior or a senior, really quickly, and we're getting a high-quality individual as well. So it's not inhibiting our ability to hire people. Now, whether it's hindering our ability to retain people until the point when those positions open up, I'd have to look at the individual situation.
Right.
I haven't heard that. I haven't seen people who, in fact, it's been the opposite. people who have substitute custodian, just create a word, for us, we've moved into full-time positions pretty regularly.
As we have openings, yeah, I just, yeah, I'm thinking, if we, we're not gonna do anything this year, but I'm just, I've been asking for this information for 11 years and I still haven't gotten it.
What does he look for, position, like to know who may not?
Do we have the right rates to be able to retain people? So why would somebody come here and work for less than what they get in Sheffield?
Yeah, well, I think, okay, that's a good point, but I think it's market, right? So I think comparing we did that with the ESPs, SPs, clerical, looking at our sub rates with the market of what's being provided, like in other words, if someone wants to be a substitute custodian in Hingham, or in Hanover, or in Pembroke, are we competitive with those? I think that's a very fair thing to do.
Well, I'm thinking even public sector jobs, right?
Yeah.
So why would somebody come work here instead of McDonald's or First Stop?
Well, this is more than minimum wage.
Forget the list, I'm just asking the question.
It's a good question. And it's something that I think is, it's kind of rising the rates across the playing field.
Yeah, we don't have to, drill down over that, but just for the future, I would like to discuss that, right?
It's a very, it's something that we have this platform now that we should be able to, we'll talk about this in negotiation, provide us with market values.
Yeah.
All kinds of positions, including substitute positions. So we can use that to generate what they are. So first of all, you get that sense of, well, what does a sub-tutor make in Marshfield compared to Pembroke, Duxbury? You get that. And then we can look at that in all fairness to other positions outside and determine if we want to be an anomaly in that and go higher than those other positions, or if we want to stay where we are. So I think you have to look at both, right? You got to look at the
Yes,
market value.
that's what I'm asking, but
Yeah.
also I don't want to solve a problem that we don't have. And I was under the impression that it was hard to find resources.
I don't want to say it isn't hard to find resources. It just hasn't been brought to me as a huge issue. And the principals are very communicative to me, which I wanted to be. And so they would tell me if they couldn't get substitutes. I am hearing that they are having trouble hiring SCSPs and ESPs, loud and clear.
Okay, so that's one, two categories.
Yeah, but I haven't heard that yet, actually.
So I think we are veering off topic just a little bit.
Yeah, no,
It's good. It's good. Support.
It is. Any other comments or questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve the new rate for substitute plus attendance and monitors, $25 an hour, so moved by Ms. Stetson, second by Ms. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. That's 400 as well, Mrs. Pazerski. Okay, folks, our next meeting is October 7th. Minutes, I'm sorry. See how we communicate with that? We have 2 sets of minutes, Mrs. Pazerski?
Correct.
Okay. We have, I'm sorry, do we have 3? No, we have 2. The 22nd of July.
So,
Motion to approve has been made by Mrs. Dargan, second from Ms. Stetson. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, that's 400. Then we have the August 26th meeting. A reminder, I know we had 2 members here who were absent at that, but you can still vote to approve. All it is saying yes. Those are-
motion to approve. Meeting minutes from August 26th.
Motion's been made by Ms. Stetson to approve the meeting minutes from August 26th, second's been made by Mrs. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. That's also 400. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn has been made by Ms. Stetson. Is there a second? Second from Mrs. Dargan. Roll call there, Ms. Pazerski.
Mrs. Dargan? Yes. Ms. Stetson? Yes. Mr. Greer?
Yes.
Mrs. Russo?
Yes, thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.